Welcome back to the PDP. It's your boy Pops Prince, and today we have a very special guest. He's the owner of Consistent Co., an artist, graphic designer, event curator, and all-around creative. Let's give it up for Tony, Mayne.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah. I need the buzzer effect too.
Cheer.
We're accompanied by Robert.
Hello.
And throwing 50s.
Yep, he's the man in the cuts right there. You don't got to see him, but you know he's there. He's present.
It's
Always.
figment of your imagination.
Yep.
To get a little bit of a backstory around you, where are you from? Where are your parents from?
My name is Tony Mayne. I'm from the south side of Chicago, born and raised. Pulaski Orange Line. My mom's from Poland. I'm Polish. And then my dad, shoot, I don't even know where my dad's from, to be honest, but I think he has roots in North Dakota. He's from Chicago. I don't know how that goes, but he's Native American. So I'm Polish, Native American.
Okay.
27, going 28, September, Virgo baby. And I'm the sole proprietor, creative, entrepreneur. Does that mean? My bad. What you want to call it? I'm everything, man. I try to be everything. I try to be everywhere. I try to do a lot. I try to do everything I can because you never know, man. You never know.
For the people that don't know, how did Consistent start about?
Consistent was a high idea. So Consistent started off, I was at a burger joint and I just take an unbelievable big dab, too big. And I was really uncomfortable and we were eating and I was asked a question, all random. If I were to choose one word that represents me, what would it be? And I really thought hard on it, pondered on it, and then it hit me, I'm consistent. At the end of the day, what I say I'm going to do. And I show up and I put 100 into what is done. And then it hit me. My roots go back to acronyms. Acronyms are a big part of the lifestyle I live and what I believe in. So right away, Consistent went from just being the word that we all know, broken down to creating only new styles in society to evolve new talent. It's that everyday 9 to 5 grind and some long days, longer nights. You got to be consistent with yourself in order to make things happen.
Facts.
So I picked up on that idea and I was like, oh, dang, like, I think I got something. At the time, I was a freshman in college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was in a small little town in Colorado. My background is graffiti and street art and just guerrilla advertisement.
Okay.
So
wait, so just taking it back, how did you get to Colorado? Like you said, you were born in Chicago.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
If you could tell that story.
Yeah. So I grew up on the south side, went to school on the west side of Chicago. And then I had an opportunity to go to a school called Fort Lewis in Durango, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
And I had no friends, no family, no idea. I just seen the campus via on the computer, and I was like, "Yo, sign me up! I get to get out the city. I get to start fresh." At the time, I was like battling inner demons in terms of like a toxic high school relationship and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And, my mom and my sister are very educated based, but I'm the artist. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to go and try to create my own route and just see what I can do by myself. So I had the opportunity to go out there and I checked it out and I fell in love the first day, man. As soon as I touched that Colorado air, it hit different. And that's where I'm at today. So it kind of took my soul with it.
So what did you go to school for? Or what was was it just gen eds or you already?
No, man, I went to school for graphic design and communications.
Oh, okay.
So I went to school, I was introduced to graphic design early. My high school teacher, his name was Mr. Enriquez. He was a new teacher. He was real fly, real cool dude. And he introduced me to graphic arts. And I was really big into clothing and I wanted to make my own stickers and I didn't know how to do any of that. So all I knew was to draw and then scan it in. And that was it. I never knew how to take it a step further. So in high school, my teacher kind of taught me Photoshop and he taught me a little bit of ins and he taught me how I can draw and then scan it in and then digitize it and then so forth like that. So we went and I kind of pushed it. So once we got like a title, I guess you would say, graphic design. I don't know what that was, but I saw that I can go to school for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, if I go to this school, I'm not going to be the guy that I was in Chicago. You know, I would be Durango's most wanted. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'll be incognito. I'll change my name and I'll try to strive as a graphic artist. And
you're purposely acting out, or you just?
Nah, it's just like, you know, like out here, I already kind of like set my identity to who I wanted to be. And I was very comfortable with the whole like the graffiti persona and people not knowing me and just being around the crew. And I was very comfortable. So I wanted to be uncomfortable. I strive off of being uncomfortable. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to go by my real name. I'm going to be called Rafa. And I'm going to be an artist from Chicago and kind of strive from there. So it kind of like pursued. And even then, like once I got to school, I was like, well, shit, I'm here and I still don't know what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So consistent kind of was a beautiful backbone and like a base to be like, all right, cool. This is where I'm going to start and let's progress from here.
And then it's 7 years? Or
yeah, it's gonna be 7 years. I was counting on my fingers on the way here. It's gonna be 7 years this year.
Nice. And it's always just been you, or you've had like partners along the way, or you've been able to?
So Consistent actually started. There was 2 other dudes. So it was my boy Granger Ranger and then my boy Smiley. They were in college with me, and when I spit them the idea of Consistent, you know, like myself, their eyes lit up and they knew we were onto something. So
yeah.
I was living in the dorms, so I didn't have my own place. So they had their own house and they had this cool little room, kind of like this little structure right here. It kind of gives me old vibes in that sense. But we kind of chopped it up. We called it, you know, the HQ. And then we were fortunate because like the universe was like, yo, you guys are onto something, because like everything kind of like was put in place. Started off with well, let's print our own clothes. And then all of a sudden, somebody hit us up and was like, hey, we're throwing away a screen printer, like a whole screen printing press. We're just missing one piece. Like, if you guys can find the piece, it's yours. So we had a whole industrial 4-arm screen press off the rip. We had it fit in the room, in the center of the room. And we found the piece that we were missing at a junkyard. We got that for free. So then the press was in full motion now. And then we had a homie. She was working at a screen printing shop. So she gave us a bunch of like blank screens and all that. So we just had to learn how to put the emotion and kind of learn the process. So then we had that going on. And then one of my favorite memories starting out was like we were planning our first drop and we were doing the whole burning the screen process, and it was very tedious. It was, you know, trial and error or so forth like that. But we would clean the screens in my boy's bathtub, and that ink is like, that shit stains, you know? So we were. Was
it like the plastisol or like the water?
It was like whatever you can buy at
you remember
the art
like what
store.
color?
It was black. I know it was black ink, but it was like the Speedball or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know, but it was like the most basic. You can buy it at the art store.
Yeah.
And we copped it, and sure enough, you know, my dude's bathtub
was all black.
Man. Like you'd walk in there and there was just like ink that is just never went away. So I bet you when they sold that house, they were like, yo, sorry about that bathtub.
Oh my God. I'm sure they were like, his folks were pissed.
Dude, whoever rented us the spot called us riffraff, because that house was a little bit much after we left. But we had this cool little room and we started just printing our own clothes. So when Consistent started, we did everything in-house. We started off with our shirts and so forth like that. And the cool thing about Consistent starting out was when we first dropped our first design, we had nobody buy it. I don't know if you can relate to that, but like...
Definitely. So in the same way that you had 2 partners, I had 2 partners with Effectus. I don't know if you remember that brand.
Yep.
This was probably like 2014 when I started this back in high school with my friends. And Effectus didn't really work out because it was too many people. It was like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Heard that.
You know what I mean? And then we had conflicting ideas, and Yeah, a lot of our designs didn't. I still have a whole bin full of Effectus merch that didn't sell. Maybe I'll release it in the future, like 10 years from now. But yeah, it's discouraging for sure. But what do you think? Like, how did you surpass that, or like how did you overcome that feeling? Like, what made you keep going even though it didn't sell?
No, 100%. Honestly, shoot, man, starting out, like, you know, I thought we were going to pop off. I thought we were going to sell out like Supreme. I was very big-headed in that sense. I was very, I'm going to sell out. I'm going to make a lot of money. And this shit's going to take off to the moon real quick. So it was very humbling, you know, because, like, not even my friends were copping, man. Like, I had little to none support starting out, you know, but like I was so big-headed right away that the universe had to humble me down a little bit, which was now I look back at it and I appreciate that. But man, it was one of my friends. Her name was Moko, and she was the only person that bought a piece off of me. And I was running my pieces for $8 because they just had to pay for shipping. That was it. Once I got the shipping, then I can go ahead and then give them the product. And I kind of reversed the asset towards like, well, instead of trying to make money off of these first pieces, no one even knows who I am. So why would they want to buy it? So it was like more so like, yo, I'm just going to bless everybody that I can with one of these pieces. And then hopefully it can, you know, pick up some kind of range. So my first drop was a money cat design. It was a cat with a little palm up, and it was supposed to represent wealth and good luck to the holder, whoever's wearing the piece, you know. And that piece didn't do too well, but now it's one of the most sought after pieces. Kind of cool how it like kind of like a 360. Yeah. But you know, it wasn't until we picked up on like the consistent box logo, and you know, I actually commissioned this artist from I want to say like Britain or the UK, something. He was overseas. Wow. But he created this dope like wolves in sheep's clothing design. And then from there, we picked up on some blanks. We picked up some champion blanks, and we printed out like a small batch, and people liked it. You know, people liked the consistent message. People liked the box logo, and people liked the wolf. So sure enough, we dropped it, and we sold out in 24 hours within our second drop. So it's kind of like we're onto something now, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And did you feel like people were more supportive of the brand than one idea? That Money Cat idea at the time, it was your own design, right?
My first design that I ever created was actually from that's the homie Scomp. He hooked me up with that design, and I was very like tapped in with it, you know, and people didn't know who it was or what it was and so forth like that. Like, so it was nothing at that time. But now it's like one of those pieces that it's like, dang, if you got it, then you were one of the first that actually were like a part of the growing up consistent. It
just took people time to like understand it, right? And then with the second drop, it was more
brand based.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I tell a lot of people, you know, because on top of designing for myself, I've picked up on the quote unquote title of like a freelance and designer and so forth like that. And a lot of people want to start a clothing brand, and I'm totally for it, but I've kind of noticed and kind of gravitated towards like, if you're starting out, don't just drop your logo piece. You know, more people are entitled to buy something that looks cool or something that they gravitate towards in terms of like what they like, or if it looks cool or whatever the reason for it to buy, but they don't have to know it's the brand, because at the end of the day, the brand essence comes later on. You know, people are going to buy something at the end of the day if they like what it looks like, they like the color palette, whatever it is. You know, there's elements that will gravitate towards that rather than just somebody trying to buy the brand. So like when I'm talking to these people who want to start up a brand and so forth like that, it's more so like let's just create some cool shit, and then we can put the brand behind it, and then we can build from that, because then the people will want to buy into the brand later on rather than you trying to pop off with the brand off the bat.
Yeah. Being a clothing owner, like a designer, you've done a lot of pop-ups, right?
I feel like I've done a fair share, man. A fair share. I've been, you know,
How many would you say? Like, if you had to guess, like, estimated.
I want to say like I mean, it sounds little now, but like at least 20 plus for sure,
Yeah.
you know, like whether it was like a small get together, me being a part of it or me like helping work it, you know, I've been a part of like that essence. So it was a lot of note taking. I'm very big on just observing the environment and seeing what other people do. And that was one of the cool things that like I recognized was like when I was coming up on these Chicago pop-ups and so forth like that, you were right there too, you know? So like I kind of picked up on a roster where it was like, all right, cool. Like, you know, me, you, Skyco, Entitled, off the rip. Those are like the four that I always can kind of gravitate towards and even depend on too. It's like, yo, like I'm going to start something, like who can I hit up? And, you know, those are my four off the rip, the three off the rip that I can, gravitate towards, because like I said, I feel like we all kind of came up in that environment at the same time, maybe not together, but within the same realm of a quote unquote class, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I remember doing a couple of pop-ups with you. It was I think you hosted one, or you asked me to be part of one in Pilsen with at Del Dia.
Yep, I was invited to that one, and then I was like, yo, I know a few people.
And then this is when I saw you like all tatted, and I was like, damn, I need more tattoos. And like you had like your whole like leg sleeve and shit.
Yeah. No, I got them early, man. I got my tattoos. I started at like 14 in high school.
Sorry.
And then we kind of just went up there. But I remember that one specifically. That one was cool because it was not on Yukin. It was like in the heart of Pilsen. But all my whole crew was turned for no reason. Like I had my boys. My girl was all turned up, and you know, I'm like, yo, we're here for business right now. Let's handle the business and then have fun. But you know, at the end of it all, it was a real cool vibe. It was a real energy based environment. I know there was like live performances going on and so forth like that. But one of my favorite memories too was at the end. You know, at the end, it was just when we were cleaning up. I just looked around and there was like 12 people within the consistent circle, you know, just grabbing the boxes and moving and grooving. And
because
it was cool to see that like that unified like team essence at the end of it, you know. And that's the one thing I love about consistent, you know, like I am consistent, but consistent is also everyone else too, you know. And that's the cool part about it, is it's not like a me thing, it's a we thing for sure.
Not that many people could say that they could hold a Chicago presence like from another state, and when you come into town, I think a lot of people are like, oh shit, like he's back, you know. Like it feels like that, just like as an outsider. I think when you have like your faithful followers, or like your faithful circle,
my clan,
your clan.
Yeah, you know. And that's the thing too, is like the one thing I'm really grateful for about consistent is, you know, like at the end of the day, I could say this on camera. I could say this, you know, just being completely transparent. Pocketing consistent money isn't something that I take part in. It's not something that I believe in. It goes back into the brand. It has more money than myself, being personally. But it's just fact of a matter that like the love and the support and the message and what it brings to an environment is what I strive for. You know, beyond it all, beyond, you know, the aspect of being a brand, people wear it, so forth like that. I'm really big on wearing what you want to believe in, if you want to put that in quotes right there. Like, you know, you wear what you want to represent and so forth like that. So whether it's like me wanting to represent my homies, me wanting to represent a positive message, so forth like that, like we're a walking billboard at the end of it all, you know? So I want to be able to be read and be like, all right, cool. You know, I can't go and rock something that, you know, is cursing on it or so forth like that. You know, it may look cool, it may gravitate and like, oh, that's some good design right there. But at the end of it all, like I think about like whether it's the shorties that are wearing it or the 45-year-olds that are wearing it, you know.
Like you want it to have a message,
a
meaning.
To me, Consistent has always been more than a clothing brand. Like if you were to ask me today, be like, yo, like where would you want Consistent to be, or what would you want Consistent to represent, or what would you want it to be equal to? And I would say Red Bull. Red Bull to me is like,
that's crazy. Yeah, that wouldn't be the first.
Yeah, no,
because it's not like a streetwear brand. It's more of a why Red Bull?
Red Bull, man, Red Bull. You can throw that on anything. Red Bull correlates to an energy drink first and foremost, but the idea behind Red Bull is what really gets me going, because it's like you have a snowboarder, you have a skier, you have someone hopping out of a spaceship, you have a skateboarder, you have anybody and everybody that can represent Red Bull, and they can represent the quote unquote Red Bull team and so forth like that. And that's what I like perceive consistent as. It's like, you could be consistent, you could be a snowboarder, you could be consistent hopping out of an airplane, you could be consistent and be an artist and so forth like that. So I've always been like, no, I don't want to be supreme. I don't want to be undefeated. I don't want to be none of that. I want to be Red Bull, you know?
I like that. I'm going to send that to Red Bull. And hopefully they sponsor us.
Yeah, holla at us, Red Bull, please.
But just taking it back to before you even went to college for designing and stuff, like how did you get into art? Or because you've been doing art, you do.
That's deep.
You said you do graffiti.
Yeah, so like I've been very art orientated, you know, and that's one of my things that I've always stayed true to. And if I could tell anybody any kind of advice, it's like that little voice in your head. We may call it our inner self. You know, I call it little Tony Mayne and so forth like that.
Yeah.
That voice is the curation of it all. That's what I believe my imagination is, and that's my inner child. And that's one thing that I feel like as an artist, as a creative, as someone who thinks outside the box, you kind of have to respect that inner voice. You have to listen to that inner voice. You know, that inner voice is there for a certain reason and so forth like that. So it's like, I was always the kid who was utilizing a stick for a sword. I was the kid who, you know, loved to color. My first hustle on a serious aspect was I was probably third, fourth grade. And what I would do is I would buy coloring books, and then I would trace the images from the coloring books onto like sheets of paper. Yeah. And then I would sell them off as originals. So that was like my first hustle, but all I was doing was tracing, you know, but I've always had that kind of like give for gab to try to just come up, whether it was, you know, pennies, nickels, dimes to $1. I was just always in that, you know, that essence of like, heck yeah, that worked. Like the hustle. Yeah. So the imagination and just the creative ability always came from listening to that inner voice, and that kind of opened up so many doorways. Like my main media, if you wanted to call it, has always been like acrylic paint. I love acrylic paint. Oil paint's cool, but I feel like it's still a little bit too mature for me. I don't have the patience to be able to use all the different. Nah, man. I'm just one that will keep throwing colors and add some water and then color and so forth like that. So like it always went to like painting canvases, and then I was an athlete, or I thought I was an athlete, but I always got injured, you know. So art always stayed true in my my corner. So like in high school had the biggest influence on me when it came to like the art life, because like my teachers supported me dearly, you know, when it came to like either my graphic design teacher, or I took AP art, and my art in that class was horrible, but my teacher still rooted me on and always backed me up. And even when I went to college, you know, I had a professor tell me straight up that I sucked. And
That's crazy. Like,
it broke my heart, man. It broke my heart.
How do you even like judge art? It should be like it's all relative, right?
And you know, that's what I thought too, man. And it, you know, I remember I was hurt. When I say I was hurt, I remember calling my mom up and be like, "Mom, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, man. I just was told that I suck." And that same day, she actually threw me a buck, man. And I was like, "Hey, Mom, like I got no money. I'm broke, but I'm not trying to suck at art. Like, you know, can I buy a canvas?" I remember buying this big old, huge, like 36 by 36 something, like outrageously big, a big canvas. And I painted this like abstract essence. And that was the first, that was like because it was cool, because in my school, every year they had like a student gallery. And then as a freshman, I got that art piece that I worked on into that gallery. And it's crazy because the professor that said I sucked was the one who picked it without knowing that it was mine.
Damn.
So I was like, I got you.
That's fire. That's like a good revenge.
No, exactly. And, you know, that's why I always stay true to it. And I always stay true to like my style, quote unquote, or like what I believed in, you know, like shit, man, you're not gonna be the first person to tell me that. So I'm just gonna keep it going.
Fire. And aside from consistent, you've also picked up these picket fences. You say it's like
oh man, that came later down the road. Yeah,
like recently,
but like
right?
yeah, so like honestly, man, like I'm a big fan of texture, whether it's with my art or what I put into it, the graphic essence of it. Texture allows a flat image to come to life. So like with these picket fences is, it's not the sign itself, it's the wood grain that I create within the picket sign. You know, those little lines, the little daggers in it all. That's the texture base from it. So like to me, a sign at the end of the day is universal. Like I think of it like when I put these signs up, these picket signs up, it's like imagine you're in the wild, wild west and you didn't have no billboards, you didn't have no advertisement essence. You had these wooden signs out there. So it's like if you write a message on this sign, someone's bound to see it. And if you take it like literally, it's literally a sign. And I like to write positive messages on there. Growing up, my mom's crib is nothing but like wording, like positive messages and hey, you can do it and have a great day and so forth like that. So I grew up around that, and now that's all my house is. It's nothing but picket signs with positive messages and so forth like that. So the influence of like the positive messages has to come from my OG for sure, but like the sign, the picket sign itself is just literally a universal sign that can communicate language for sure.
Fire. That's a great way to explain it. I actually just started working at a signing company. It's like for
congrats.
We do like a bunch of signs all over Chicago. Thank you.
Dope.
And then yeah, that just reminds me of like just billboards that say like this is your sign. This is the sign that you were looking for all along. And the picket signs is the smart thing. And were you trying to make it into like an NFT for a while, or am I thinking?
Yeah, man. So like once the whole NFT wave kind of picked up, you know, I had a brilliant idea, and I was told recently that I should have kept up with it, but it was more so like I was able to create a variety of these different images, and you know, the whole NFT thing kind of boomed up. So it was like kind of like let's see if I could do this too. You know, it was the wave at the time. But that kind of correlated into what I'm doing now, which is pretty cool. Between the texture based and so forth like that. When I like to create my quote unquote branding, if it is anything that my style, I like to incorporate that wood grain essence. You know, I'm a real big fan of Joshua Vides or whatever. But he does like the outline of it all. He does like outline of like images and so forth like that. So like he's not the first artist to do it. I know there was artists before him, but like he got famous off of like having a white Air Force Nike.
Oh yeah,
and then he traced it.
He's had like exhibits at like everywhere, right? Like I've seen him at ComplexCon, I think.
Exactly. So like I'm a big fan of like his style, his essence, and I didn't want to quote unquote bite it at that time, but like I did add like, all right, cool, I want to retrace this and I want to turn this into wood. No matter,
it's like your inspiration.
Exactly. Right. No matter what the product is, I can turn it into wood at the end of it all.
Dope.
So that was kind of like my correlation with it all. And then it kind of worked out in my favor because the rolling papers that I kind of came up on, that's exactly what these bad boys.
Yeah, let's talk about these. What are these?
Yeah, dude. These? So these are LT Gray's boomsticks, man. So I had a client, he actually was my buddy in college, and he utilized this NFT project called the DJ Tunes, and that's the
cat.
That's the cat like smoking a doink. But they're called DJ Tunes, and he's like, yo, I want to turn this into a logo. So I did my thing, man. I created the whole LT Gray's essence, created a whole little storyline persona off of him. And then when I was creating it, I was getting hyped up.
Yeah.
I was getting like, dang, like I don't want to just give this idea away and call it a day. I want to be a part of this. So I was like, yo, let's cut right to it. I want to become your partner. I want to become the designer of this thing, and we're going to make some cool shit.
What's his name again? Your partner?
My partner, his name is Jack. Jack the man, dude. Shout out Jack.
Let's go.
Jack. But yeah, no, he hit me up, dude, and he kind of threw me a bone, and he kind of like invited me to this whole world called the DJ Tunes, and they're this NFT project, dude, and they're pretty up there, man. When you think of like, they're at least top 5, I want to say, if not. But they have a crazy community on Twitter, and he blessed me with one of the Tigres, and we just created this whole persona. We created this thing called LT Gray's Trading Post, where that's like the umbrella, and then LT Gray's boomsticks come from under that umbrella, and so forth like that. But I'm really big on like product design, and I always wanted to create my own shit. You know, that's one thing I like about and I respect about what you do is me and you have that same correlation where it's like I want to wear my own shit. I want to use my own, whatever I create at the end of it all, whether it's socks, pants, t-shirts, products, so forth, like accessories. Like, I want to have my name behind it. I want to use my own thing. I want to, support myself at the end of it all. So that was one of those things that we created, and it kind of picked up fire, and we're picking up on it now. And it's just starting out. We're trying to get into stores. We got 2 locations, or 2 to 3 in North Dakota. I got a few in Colorado. I'm trying to get them here in the city. But our product speaks for itself, and I'm pretty stoked on it. It's like my next intermission of like what I want to do next. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm excited to try these. I don't know how I feel about NFTs. I feel like during the pandemic, there's like a great like boom of them, like the whole board yacht club ape stuff.
Yep.
Was going crazy, but then I feel like just recently they've been on like a downward trajectory. But it still feels like they will blow up like eventually. And, like,
so
the whole idea of having cryptocurrency is very intriguing to me and shit.
I still, crypto's becoming a big thing. And what I respect about like the quote unquote NFT aspect is you have to be able to have an IRL presence, in real life presence, to be able to like actually have like functionality of it all. Like, we brought this 2D image and brought it to life. We utilized a project and created a product from it. And you see it more and more. People are utilizing it and so forth like that. And I think it's cool. It's a branding essence. And what I like about it is like, once you have that thing in your wallet, like, it's yours. You can use it for whatever you want to use it for. And not enough people are doing that. People will collect it, in their electronic wallet, but that's it. That's as far as it goes for that. So to be able to bridge that gap between the digital and real world is where the functionality really comes into play, because there's a lot of crazy, projects out there. Like, I've seen dudes make hot sauce. I've seen people utilize it in dispensaries, and there's definitely people who are doing it, vinyl toys and so forth like that. There's unlimited aspects to it, but it's like up to the individual to be able to bridge that gap in the first place. And that's where kind of like your creative imagination has to kind of correlate with. It's like, yo, how can I turn this into that?
Yeah, I feel like that's where the streetwear, like the culture, is going, especially with like, you see it every day, like the Astro Boy boots. It's just like things that are normally unreal or like imaginative
coming to life.
Coming to life.
And that's what I think is crazy. Honestly, like I'm a big fan of the hundreds. They're the OGs to the game, but like
they're super into NFTs, right?
Dude, they have a whole community aspect of it, and that's what like they're bridging the gap. And I know Bobby just dropped a book, so it's like he's really a communication to like this world, because a lot of people don't know about it, but I mean, we're only gonna keep seeing it. We hit the wave when it was all about the hype. Everyone wanted to get a buck from it. I feel like, people were jumping into these projects thinking they're gonna flip it and make a quick mill, and that's it. And now they're sitting in this thing, it's just chilling in their wallet and so forth like that. And it's like, yo, at the end of it all, like everything, it's an investment. And then how you turn it into like an investment is up to you. It's not like one of those, hey, you own it now. The whole world's gonna come at you. It's like, no, you gotta kind of create that. You gotta pave that. And if you don't, then somebody else is, and so forth like that. So it's like one of those that like, it's not going anywhere. I don't think it's going anywhere. But it definitely is dimming down to like, yo, the people who are actually like in it to actually have a project, have a community, have a presence are still alive. But like everybody else who came in, made a quick buck, now they're gone. And that's going to be like the 10 of the things that we're going to be introduced to as well.
Yeah. How do you organize yourself as far as like your entity, or just organize yourself in general? Because you have consistent, but I know you speak of it like it's its own entity, and now you have El Tigre boomsticks, and then you also have the picket signs, but you also made weed strains too, right? And just like dealing with just like the whole marijuana culture.
That's the thing about me, dude, is like, I've created little essences. I like to have my hands in 10 different pots. And as far as organization goes, if you ask anybody around me, I am the least organized person ever. I'm always leaving shit around. I'm always forgetting stuff. I'm always, thinking ahead of myself and so forth like that. So as far as like organization, I'm the least organized
Really?
at it all. And it's a constant battle because it's like I visualize it like 5 different cups. And it's like some days I'm pouring more water in one cup rather than the other. And then I'm lacking in this cup. And then I'm trying to take from this cup and pour it here and so forth like that. So it's a constant battle on my end. But what I've come to recognize with myself is if I'm not doing something, I get into like almost a depression, man. I get real sad and I get real down on myself. And I'm my biggest critic at the end of it all. So it's like, if I believe I'm not doing enough, you can't convince me otherwise. So it's like, I got to be doing 5 different things at a time. I don't know if it's fulfilling my quote unquote ego or what it is, but it's like, I gotta just keep it moving. I can't be stale. That's like one of my, my beliefs that I believe in is like, there's 2 things that can destroy a human, and that's ego and comfort. So, you know, if I'm too comfortable and I'm not moving, then I'm lacking on some point. And then if I'm moving in just a way to fulfill my ego, I'm lacking in some point. So it's like one of those things that I'm always aware of. And that's one thing I can say about myself is I'm pretty damn aware now within the person that I am. But I had to grow to that. But like I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's part of like who I am. Is if I'm too comfortable, I start to question it because like, why is this too easy? Why is this too smooth? Where is the hiccup going to occur and so forth? So as a creative, I mean, you know, maybe you can resonate with that because like we're always not only beating ourselves up to do more or want to do more, but at the same time, it's like finding that pace to be able to do it in a certain amount of time for your own good, not just like nowadays, like I don't want to just drop a t-shirt to drop a t-shirt. Like that's just, I did that. I'm not part of that anymore. I'm rather about the process now more than anything. I'd rather build something up and then have something to show for it rather than just be like, all right, here's the end result. And that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
definitely. Cause it's not like we're just creatives. We're not just artists. We're entrepreneurs. We have businesses. We have to, I don't know. I guess we don't have to drop, but it feels like you almost owe it to your customers or the people that have been rocking with you for so long. So I understand why you would feel like you need to do a little bit of everything. And I'm the exact same way, bro. With user-friendly, Pause Prints, the pig. Like sometimes I want to separate my brand from the pig and just be my own like person. Pablo Trees, Tony Mayne. It's like we're very similar in that way. And I don't know. We find like peace in the chaos.
Yeah, no, straight up. And, you know, that's what I try to preach to my boys. I try to preach to everyone around me is like, I don't want you to be comfortable, man. Like, I want you to not only strive for like full greatness and all that, but like the beautiful thing about us is we're human and we get to experience the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, today's only new knowledge at the end of it all. So whether it's a learning lesson that worked in your favor or it was a lesson that you're like, dang, I don't want to do that again. It's a fact of a matter that when you close your eyes at the end of the day, you learn something from that. So it's not a loss, it's a lesson. Unless it's a sport, then yeah, you lost. But you can still build from that. You can still build from that mentality and continue to grow as an individual. And it's just fact of a matter that it's like, you got to believe in yourself. You know, like one thing I'm super passionate on, I'm very fortunate that like my family has introduced me to, my girl's family, is the I am presence. Those 2 words, those 3 letters right there, I am, are so powerful. And you throw that in front of any sentence, dude, and it changes the mentality of anything. You know, if you say, I am going to get this done. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am going to flourish. I am the best that I can be. You know, those things just like light that fire within you. And then that's what creates the outcome is, you know, that it's called the purple violet flame. Google that. That's crazy. But we all have that within us, you know? So it's like, we want to keep that thing lit. Because that's gonna be what keeps you going at the end of it all. No matter how tired you are, no matter how beat up you are, watch UFC and you'll see somebody, man. You'll see somebody like about to tap out, and then you'll see that like switch kick in. And that's what I love about it. Is like it's kind of like that. You know, we're always fighting some kind of fight. So it's like when that switch kicks in, dude, you go into like Super Saiyan 3 and you can't be stopped. You know what I mean? And that comes within. But you have to believe in yourself first in order to get that across. And I had to learn that the hard way, and that's through trial and error for sure.
It's like we don't know our full potential until we're like at our lowest, you know.
No,
like
straight up.
Extra.
Straight up. And that's the beauty of it. You know, some people try to avoid it. Some people try to dodge it. Some people find themselves comfortable with it. So they're like, you know what? Like, I don't want to go through that. I'm the complete opposite, man. I'm like, yo, throw me in the fire and let's see how burned I can get. But best believe I'm gonna try to walk out of there. You know, I might have lost some hair, I might have lost an eyebrow, but I'm gonna come out of that building, you know. And that's just like my mentality that I kind of came up on. And support's a big factor too, you know, because at the end of it all, you can't do anything just by yourself, man. Like, whether it's your friends, your family, your dog, your cat, whatever it is, there's some kind of like essence of support that comes from another source that can be the power within. And I'm really big on like just recognizing, you know, your environment, the people around you, because that's your influence too. So you want to have those people that are on the same wavelength as you, same frequency, same hunger, same drive, because you're only as strong as the person next to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you ever have a group of people that were like a bad influence on you? Or like, speaking of myself, I used to be around like the wrong crowd for sure. Even in high school, I did a lot of shit that I shouldn't have done. Like I was like smoking before school and just like being late. And I mean, I guess smoking before school isn't that, I don't know. I can't like say it's bad, but it wasn't the right crowd because they ended up actually robbing my house. And, like,
damn.
It's like you put your trust into people and like,
100%.
Yeah. But how about you? Like,
you know, I was fortunate that like growing up, I was always the kid who liked to hang out with the older kids. And it wasn't the fact of a matter that I partook in the same things that they did, but I always watched. I'm a big observer. Growing up, I was that kid who was sitting right next to my mom, just watching everybody, like watching their moves, how they moved, how they talked, so forth like that. So I always took like mental notes of it. So like growing up, I was always surrounded by people who were older. So they had more of like an influence. They were a little bit more quote unquote mature, I guess. But I hung out with some riffraff for sure. But like I'm super fortunate that like once I got to high school, some of my friends from like 7th and 8th grade went to high school with me. And then we kind of branched out to another school. So I'm grateful like till this day that like a lot of my friends are from high school. Like I have my college friends, I have my homies who are like my homies, but like my friends are still my friends from high school. And
that's rare. A lot of people don't stay in touch like that.
No, straight up. And that's what like I like is because no one was ever like weak. You know what I mean? Everyone does their own thing. Everyone has their own standpoint and so forth like that. So it's like I was always surrounded by a positive influence. Best believe I was after school sneaking out and ditching school, and I was making, you know, dumb bad choices too. But I was for myself a lot too. I will say, like coming up in high school, broke a lot of hearts, and I was very for myself, and I was intertwined with feeding my ego. And it wasn't until I got like a huge reality check that I was like, dang, I gotta slow it down. I just gotta start questioning things a little bit more, but like pay attention more and act less. Think twice, act once. I'm really big on that. Think twice, act once. But it wasn't until like I kind of shot myself in the foot a few times, metaphorically, that we picked up on like, okay, cool, you know, I'm not going to do this and I'm going to do that. But like now to this day, I can say like everyone who was around me during my time had some kind of influence on me. Even like the graffiti scene and so forth like that. I was one of the youngest kids in the crew coming up, and all these older guys were doing their own thing, but they never perceived that like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like actually the influence that I had on them was far bigger than like my own family essence, because like when I graduated high school, I had my crewmates show up to my graduation, you know, from my family, which was cool. Like my mom, my sister, my grandma, so forth like that. But like I had my crew show up, and they always perceived that like, yo, you got bigger things for yourself, kid. Like go explore the world. Don't stay here because you're not going to do shit here. Yeah. So they're the ones who kind of pushed me to like go to the next level and believe in myself and carry on what I was here to do.
That's fire. Prior to the podcast starting, you were about to tell me a story about like how you're running with the cops. And, like,
yeah, I mean,
so I guess like what happened? Well, yeah.
Yeah, so we were chopping it up, and I was telling them the story. So, oh man, this is a good story. My mom's gonna get a kick out of this one. But so it was probably like my junior year of high school. I had the opportunity to go to Detroit. There was a gallery going on, and we were supposed to go to the gallery, but we never made the gallery. The fact of the matter is, I was in communication with this graffiti artist from Detroit. So we planned out this whole day. He took me to a bunch of like abandoned factories, and took my mom with me, and we were out there, and we got to see Detroit in a different lens. And then he went for a quick weed run and left me and my mom's, and we were at the spot called the Brewster Projects. Like it was like these 6 super tall like condo buildings, but they were for low income housing in Detroit. So you know, I was just having a field day. We were going through these buildings, going to the top. I was able to see Canada from one of these rooftops, and we were just strolling. And as we're going back to the car to leave to go to the gallery show, there's an unmarked squad car right behind our car.
Damn.
So I'm walking, and I have at least 30. I have 2 book bags full of like 30 spray cans, man. Like I'm rattling away, walking to the car. And as we're walking, like these guys are writing my mom's license plate on, you know, on their pad. And they were like, you know, they checked us real quick, and they asked if this was our car. And once I said this was our car, it was over with, man. Like they snatched my bag. They checked us. They searched all of us. They were real rude too. So they were like, "You're from Chicago, messing up our city. Like, how dare you?" You know, so they wanted to make a quote unquote
like an example
of us. Exactly. So like, my mom's never got in trouble with the law before. She's very straight edge, very like locked in.
Shout out your mom though, just for even like being there,
holding it down, always holding it down, getting a kid out. But man, I was more embarrassed, and I felt so bad because like this cop is like straight disrespecting my mom's, and I'm trying not to get too crazy with him, but like I'm trying to tell him, you know, what's up. And when he was taking our information down, he noticed that my mom had a Polish last name. So, you know, he got into like small communication, like, "Oh, you're Polish, I'm Polish, where you from, blah, 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 blah." And then he asked like you know, how old I was, what grade I was in, and what grades I get. And I was like, "Dude, I'm a straight A student. I'm an AB student, man. Like, I'm an art student." Like, I was given, you know, this place to come check it out, and I'm just here on like an art aspect.
Because it was just you and your mom right there?
Yeah.
The guy had already left.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Okay,
it was me, my mom, and then my girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
She was out there. So like they took all our information and so forth like that. But like after everything was said and done, the cop kind of like started talking to us, and at this point my mom's car is already towed. But after like some like sweet talking and, you know, just being a good person at the end of it all, not being an asshole, the cop ended up taking us to the spot that was where our car got towed. So long story short, we get the car, man, we get it out the jam, and we we left Detroit. They actually followed us out of Detroit to make sure that we weren't going to come back. And then sure enough, man, me and my mom had to drive back to Detroit 2 more times for court. So I was entering my senior year of high school, going to court for graffiti, and it got dropped and all that. At the time, I just got like a brand new iPhone too. It just came out, all that good stuff, and they took that, pocketed, man. And then the documentation, they never pocketed no phone, so they just straight came up on me. But it is what it is.
Yeah. I remember I got arrested in Pilsen for trying. I was about to spray something, and then that's when the cops came. They took me and my book bag, never got that back. And my car was just left there overnight. Yep. I had to walk it from the station to back to where my car was.
Oh, they let you out the same night?
No. The next day, like in the morning. Yeah. Like I was shitty. But this is just a random question, but like, what are you wearing to court?
What am I wearing to court? So I actually learned the hard way that you can't have open-toe shoes in the court case. But like I had a nice button up, I had pants. But like when my mom went to Detroit, or when she went to court for the first time, she actually had flip-flops on, and she was big chilling. And we got to the courthouse, and they said like, "Yo, straight up, like you can't come in here like that." So my mom like was freaking out, dude. It's 7 a.m. We just drove from Chicago to Detroit overnight to get this court at 8 o'clock. It's already like 7:10. There's no Walmart open. There's no stores open that early. So we were tripping out, dude. And this is where I know that the world listens and blesses us when we least expect it, because we're cruising around, dude, and we see like this hotel. So we pull up to this hotel and I run in there, and this lady, the clerk lady, I ask her if she has like a lost and found, you know, just to see if there was any clothes or so forth like that. And the lady was like, no, there's no lost and found. But we go, and as I'm leaving, there's this lady who has like a laundry basket, dude, or like a bag full of laundry. And I had the audacity to ask her if like, hey, like I'll pay you, like if I could borrow some clothes and some shoes for my mom. We have court, blah, 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 blah. And the lady just smiled, dude. And she straight up blessed us, man. She blessed my mom with the clothing, the shoes, so forth like that, whatever.
That's right.
So we go to court. We get everything. We get her case dropped. We still have to come one more time. But after that, we go back to the hotel, and turns out that the lady that was there was never a guest at that hotel, motel, Holiday Inn, or whatever. Like she was, you know, we
just
never,
a random lady,
dude. And like she came, blessed us, and then we were never able to like give her back her goods and all that. But
like a guardian angel.
It was a guardian angel, dude, straight up, man. I remember telling my mom, like, Mom, I got the clothes, you know. It was like her shoes were like 2 sizes too small, but my mom fit in them joints. And we got to the spot. We handled the business, man. And then we went to go back. We were going to give that lady, you know, a quick hundo, and, you know, we were going to bless her and so forth like that. And then I went to go check in with that clerk again, and she was like, there was no lady ever here. So I don't know if she was a ghost, an angel, whatever you want to call it, dude. But she was a presence, man, that came when it was needed and helped the kid out, man, because it would have been bad.
That's awesome. That's like being part of like the human race and just like helping each other out.
Nah, straight up. And that's how the world goes around, dude. Is like, you know, it's like, I always tell all my boys, I tell my little nephews and so forth like that, like, yo, I always treat people with respect, man. You never know who you're talking to. The janitor might be the CEO and you don't even know it. Okay. You know what I mean? You treat everybody with respect. You talk to everybody like they're the boss, because at the end of it all, you don't know who they know. You don't know what kind of power they can curate and so forth like that, man. And it goes, it's harder to be nice at the end of it all. It's harder to be, you know, it's harder to be negative, to be mean and all that. So it's like, yo, why are you gonna put all that energy into like that direction when you can put the same amount of energy and just be nice? That's it. You know, more comes out of it for sure. Yeah.
Wow. So it is April. We're getting close to 420.
Yeah, it's Good Friday. Shout out. Good Friday.
Shout out Jesus. Good Friday for real. You do a lot of like weed related items with your job sometimes, right? I love Consistent Co.
Yeah, I love the cannabis, man. So like, I was super fortunate that like, it's kind of crazy. So it's like during the pandemic, I was just very stagnant in Chicago. You know, everything was all shut out. The city was kind of crazy and weird. So me and my girl, we went back home to Colorado to go visit her family and so forth like that. So like it was her sister. Her sister was getting married. So we went to go check that out and be a part of that. And I met one of my homies, to my boy Hagen. Shout out Chico Sanchez, man.
Let's go.
But he's the one, he plugged me up with this job to work at a dispensary, man. So I started working at this dispensary, and honestly, I picked up on it. I was home, bro. Like, I'm big on like the curation and like the medical aspect of it more than anything. So it's super cool to be able to plug people up legally and kind of gravitate into like, oh, I like this, I like that, this does that. What are you trying to, you know? So I was like very
because this was before weed was legal in Chicago, like regular?
Yeah, so it was just coming up. So it was like coming up on the when I was already in Colorado, and then like the year that after that, in the beginning of like January, is when it became legal. So I was in heaven. You know, I was seeing turkey bags full of some gas. Fire, man. And it was a super cool environment, man. Learned a lot. Became like I want to say the floor manager, dude. I was the guy up there just curating everything. And I'm really big on customer service. I love talking to people. I love helping people out. So it really worked in my favor. You know, it was like, it wasn't even a job. And I was just out there doing my thing and so forth like that. And then finally, I was kind of inching my way to like design some shit for them. And I finally had the opportunity to design some labels to start off. And whipped those up. It was for a Mac, Miracle Alien cookies, and created this cool little product and display. And then that was what introduced me to like, yo, I want to do this shit full time.
Yeah.
So I started like anytime they needed help, I would design their stuff, from posters to product to stickers to apparel, so forth like that.
Fire.
So I was doing all that for them, and then it was awesome, man. I was, like I said, I was in heaven and so forth like that. But like that was during COVID, and then COVID got very weird in terms of like just like political aspect to like politics ran the store, where it's like, yo, if you're this, you can do this, but if you're not this, then you can't do that. And I was like, yo,
like
we're
vaccination shit.
yeah, dude.
Okay.
Like if you were vaxxed, you didn't have to wear a mask, and then if you were not vaxxed, you had to wear a mask. And I was like, yo, like as a consumer, as the customer, I'm gonna question why one person is doing something and the other person isn't.
Right.
I'm gonna bring that to their attention, and I got to see firsthand that made people uncomfortable. So it's like, yo, why are you gonna point people out? Let's just all be together and let's just all rock what we want to rock, whether what we believe in or not. We're in the environment, so it's like if we're all masked up, we're all masked up, cool. But if we're not, you can't just pick and choose and so forth like that. And then they got really weird, and then I was just like, I didn't believe in it, So I actually put in my resignation in October, and it's actually gonna be 2 years this year that I've been working for myself. So that was like my last job, and I was like, you know what? Why am I gonna put 110% into somebody when I can put 150 plus in myself? Yeah.
Damn. So you're freelancing full time now?
Dude, freelancing full time, man.
That's
it's tough, bro. I'm super fortunate that like my girl supports me, man. Cause some days, we got a check that comes in and sometimes we don't, bro.
Yeah.
And like, it all depends on like the workflow of it. And I've always lacked, I've never had a website for myself. I never had a LinkedIn. That's something I should probably jump on. But all my work that I was ever designated to was all word of mouth, which I'm super grateful for. Like, yo, I got a homie who can do this and so forth like that. So I've been able to strive for 2 years just off of word of mouth, and I'm super fortunate for that. Yeah, but it's a blessing and a curse for sure.
Yeah, that's like the embodiment of entrepreneurship. You don't know when your next like big check is coming, but it could be right around the corner for real.
But that big check feels good, man. when you get paid, man. Yeah. Like I earn that shit. I rock with it. So like I've very dumbed down like my approach on life, because like when I was working and all that, I had access to it. Cash flow was flying. So like I was into all the hype. I was out there buying shoes and everything I didn't need, but like working for myself, it kind of humbled me down a little bit. So it's like, well, my wants and my needs are two different things. So it's like being able to designate that properly. And then I picked up on different habits. So it's like back then it was like, oh, cool, I want to go and I want to buy all the new shoes that dropped and all the new clothes that dropped. But like, I've kind of dumbed myself down to where it's like, all right, cool. I would rather rock what I create, what the homies create. And then now my biggest hobby that I probably put my money into is paintball. That's like,
I think I seen that on Snapchat. You're like curating an event,
dude. Yeah, tomorrow, man. Tomorrow I'm paintballing. If you want to go paintballing, but anyways, yeah, no, paintballing. Like, that's kind of like a huge door that opened up to me. Yeah. This guy actually, we had his bachelor party, and we all curated this with his family to go paintballing, and we went and. I was tapped in, and I went when I was a kid, So I went I went for like I don't know, it was like a birthday party or like my neighbors invited me, but I went and I had the whole get up and I had an awesome turnout, but I never stuck with it. But then going back last year, we went and played some rec ball for the day, and I fell in love with it. I was like a big kid playing, using my imagination.
You're all bruised up?
Running around, oh man, bruised up. But like running around with the marker and just being in this environment, the survival aspect kicked in. So after that, I was like, yo, I want more of this. And then the universe heard me out, because one of my homies, man, John Blanco opened up this not little now, but his field right by my house called Southwest Paintball. So they're the first, they're one of the first like paintball fields that are actually curated right now within the Four Corners and so forth like that. So we got a bunch of the homies and a lot of people from like Albuquerque, Farmington, even Denver, traveled down to this field, and we kind of picked up on it. So we kind of created this whole community off of it. So ever since then, it's just been like, if it's not if it's not graphic design, if it's not me trying to create some shit, it's like, yo, I want to go play some paintball.
That's where you like relieve some stress for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it's physical, mental. I like it because I've never played chess in my life, but it's kind of like a big game of chess, you know, at the end of it all. But like the format we play is called speedball. And there's normally, depending how many people, but it can be anywhere from like 5 to 10 people. And it's just like a curation of like, yo, shoot to kill and survive. So it's like being able to maneuver in a proper way and being able to be very aware and communicate and so forth like that. So like all these little life lessons that I've always like been trying to like bring to life, I can utilize them in paintball, which I'm like, all right, cool. This is a lesson that I get out of every single game that I play.
And once you're shot, it's like you're out. You have to leave the field.
Yeah, yep, okay. Pretty much. Yep. You get shot up and
even like in the leg or something.
Oh yeah, dude. As soon as paint splatters on you, you know, whether you rub yourself on a bunker or so forth like that. If you have paint on you, then you're technically quote unquote out. But nice. It's been like a huge like part of my life these last like 6-7 months, man, from studying the game to watching documentaries to I just completely nerded out, man. And then like the power of influence that
I can only imagine like the gun you have and shit.
Oh yeah, you know, I got like a little pea shooter compared to what's out there, man. Motherfuckers got some crazy stuff out there, man.
Isn't there like grenades and shit?
Yeah, there's paintball, there's paint grenades, dude. And, you know, it's cool, man, because it's like it's a whole discord, and that's what I appreciate about like all these cool little hobbies that like I partake in or the homies partake in is like at the end of it all, it's like a discord, man. It's a communication base that like you have to be in that crew to be able to understand. You have to be in that discord, that community in order to understand what's really going on. So like with graffiti, it's always been like to some it's just vandalism, but to others it's a signature, it's a print, I've been there, and it's a way of communicating with the streets. And you know, same thing with paintball is like people don't understand, oh, you just get shot up and you're getting hurt. But it's like a whole, like, there's a whole community behind it that's so strong. And it's crazy to be able to see that because it's like one of those, if you know, like you may not know that dude's playing, but if you see a certain brand that he's wearing or you see him wearing a certain gear or so forth like that, you just can communicate in a way that you wouldn't be able to communicate to someone who didn't know.
Yeah. Everybody has like their own niche and stuff. Like not Complex Con. We should talk about Complex Con, but Comic Con just came into the town.
Yep,
last
I
weekend.
This year.
It's like you didn't go.
I didn't go this year. We went last year though, man. This year was dope.
Yeah,
this shit was dope.
It's always like it's crazy how many different communities that there are with like everything, and you find like-minded people for sure. But this is the Proud Disappointment podcast. I like to ask my guests, like, could you tell us something that you're proud of and something that you're disappointed in? It could be about yourself or like somebody else.
Yeah, that's like deep, man. That's deep. All right. So as far as like what I'm proud of, I'm proud of what I stand for, man. Like, whether you know me or heard of me or have no clue who I am, you know, at the end of it all, I never like to be the forefront of anything. That's just never been my forte. I always like my actions speak louder than what I could say and so forth like that. But just the power of influence that I have on like my people at the end of it all, man. I just want the best for like whoever's connected with me, whoever's a friend to me, an ally and so forth like that. Like, I just want the best for whatever they're doing, man. Like I like to be that energy. I like to be that push. And I'm super proud of that because, I feel like just based on like my upbringing and who I'm surrounded by now and all that, like I'm super fortunate to have an influence from others. So it's like I want to be able to represent that and keep it going forward. Yeah. Like I always talk about like this positive chain. Like I want to be able to start a foundation. It can start with, you know, the clerk at the grocery store. If you tell them, have a great day, or I appreciate you, you know, that makes them feel good. So then the next person that they can interact with, they can have a positive influence on them. And then they can just curate to this positive chain that can just continue to keep going and so forth like that. So like, I'm very proud of the fact that I could start that chain no matter where I'm at, no matter who I'm around and so forth like that. Like I'm a very people pleaser, but at the same time, like, how I move and how I talk, I like to hope that like, you know, there's some kind of like representation of like this kid does, you know, want the greater of the good and so forth like that. But you know, with contradiction to that, one thing I'm disappointed of, one thing I am like disappointed of on my end is I'm a procrastinator. I, with the fact that I do 100 different things at a time, sometimes I lack on other things, and that's one thing like I wish I was better on. I wish I just like kind of locked in and finished it, but sometimes, I do 100 different things and I look back at it, I'm like, damn, I could have done it this way or that way. But it was like more so just off of like the timing and the reaction of like where I was in that moment to be able to fulfill that job. But looking back at it, it's like, sometimes I'm like, damn, I could have gone harder. I could have done this. I could have done that. So sometimes doing too much is what is my biggest downfall, and although it gets the job done or there's a quote unquote finished project, it's the process that I lacked in some way, shape or form. So it's always recognizing that and being like, all right, cool. Just slow down, Tone. Just slow down, man. Story of my life.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think, what I've learned the most is that even when you say you're done, you can still do it again, like even after you already dropped, or if you feel like you dropped a project, like bring it back and like and make those changes like even after it dropped.
No, for sure.
I have a collection that I dropped last year that's related to the rain, and I'm just gonna push it again going into spring and going into this event that we're both gonna be a part of, the Pals and Pals 5.
Yep.
On April 28th. I'm gonna just push this the same, I guess, theme that I was pitching last April, because I feel like I have more ideas now that I wanted to
snap it down. That's one with the umbrella, the
like
poncho, the clear
rain.
Poncho, the rain jacket.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think of like the name for the show, but it's leaning towards like the rain don't last forever. So I like that whole concept.
Yep.
But I did want to talk shortly about the Jesse Reyes like wearing your hoodie and stuff. I remember that. And like being in Colombia myself, I was like, damn. I was like low-key jealous. And I was like, so how does an experience like that feel?
Trips me out, bro.
Like just celebrities or influencers.
So, man, like I'm super fortunate that I was able to have that opportunity. My girl, my best friend, one of my longtime belief systems, huge support, doesn't get enough recognition. But my friend Alita, man, she's a beautiful presence, and she's a huge fangirl of like Jesse Reyes and what's his name? There's a couple of them, John Bellion, and a bunch of these artists. But she became real tight knit. Like I'm talking about every city that they traveled in, she traveled in. So she became real cool with like the light guy and like the dude behind the scenes and all that. Smart. So she was just like, "Yo, give me a shit ton of hoodies, and I'll get them to these people." So I gave her a shit ton of hoodies, and that's exactly what she did. And she actually was able to get in and bless the crew up. And it was crazy because one of the tours is every single photo that was taken, there was somebody that was wearing consistent. And it tripped me out, from like the security guard to her manager to the drummer to like any presence that was a part of that team. They had a consistent piece with them. And that's something I regret to the fullest, is never following up and being like, yo, what's good? Like I got you all day, So that was one of the things I lacked on. But Alita, she was the one who actually opened that door up and curated it, and she told me what to do, and I did it. And as a result, it got out there like that. It never blossomed like, oh, we had that one person to wear it and forever, everyone wanted it. No, but on like a proud moment aspect, that's like a really, like definitely like a check off the board, just seeing it in on a stage presence like that. Yeah,
it's cool. Do you feel like it's necessary to give away merch to influencers and stuff? Because I deal with that like constantly like, should I really give away my stuff?
I feel like that's a good question. I'm all for it. Okay. I'm all for giving it, but at the same time, it's like at the end of it all, like I want to give it to you because you believe in what I'm doing. It's not like I just want to give it to you to try to get clout or for you to wear it and then somebody see it and so forth like that. At the end of it all, like I want you to wear that shit because you believe in it or you want to represent it and so forth like that. So it's like I feel like it's the approach that starts off, but if it's like not like that, then it's kind of weird. But like I always feel like, it's more so like hey, I want to pay for it, and then you're like, no, like I just want to give it to you, that's different. But like if they don't even like antagonize that idea or anything, that's more like a handout, then it's like all right, cool. And there's a time and a place, for sure. But at the end of it all, it should always be a two-way street too, not someone just trying to come up or you're just trying to come up, because then it's not going to be a natural turnout.
Like your morals should align type.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fire. Nice. I guess just wrapping things up, cause you're also, so are you married or are you like engaged?
Yeah, so I'm engaged, man.
Okay,
I get married this October 14th in Colorado, and I'm fucking stoked. Like if there's something that I'm like really like locked in and like ready to achieve, it's to do that, and it's come to a point in my life where like my biggest influence is my girl at the end of it all. Like that's like my person, that's my power source, that's everything and above. And growing up as a kid, like I said, I was a little heartbreaker and all that, but at the same time I was always scared that I wasn't going to get married, and I wasn't going to get married to the right person or something like that.
I felt that way. I mean, I have a great girlfriend now, and we're actually expecting another baby.
Oh, dope!
That's like crazy.
Woo! Is this like the first time it's like announced?
I guess like publicly. Yeah, this podcast. Yeah.
Hell yeah! Congrats, crazy. Dude.
We just moved in together, but
dope.
Yeah, it's like marriage has always been something that is like intimidating for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Like you just got married, or you're
September 10th when I got married.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So like, I guess if you guys could give me some advice on like, what would you guys say? Like, how to argue less?
Make sure you
like,
check your tuxedos.
Oh, okay. No.
Yeah, when you're married.
Our wedding day, Black Tux fucked up and they sent the wrong size tuxedo for him, and he was my best man. So
for
like,
Tony?
For Tony,
Wow.
Yeah. He had like a blue tuxedo and black. Yeah, he looked like a straight drug dealer. That's how baggy it was. Like if you open up the jacket, you could say, "I got this and that." You know, like he looked like that. But yeah, I had like a whole complete meltdown. I started like crying and shit like that because I'm like, yo, it's my best man. He needs to be fly too. But fortunately, he had a suit of his own that was in the same color of all my groomsmen were wearing, and it just coordinated perfectly. He looked better in his own suit than the suit that we paid. So my wife, she complained, and we got getting like a full refund on the whole entire thing.
They messed up.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
I guess as far as like
or just relationship advice.
Yeah, relationship advice, man, is like at the end of it all, like if I could say anything, it's got to be healthy, bro. Like communication's got to be strong, and there's a trust factor that comes into it and so forth like that. But like it's like when you're in your most natural state that like you can be as sick as a dog or whatever the case is, man. Like that person's still gonna look up and respect and take over when they need to take over. But the communication aspect is always there. Like that's one thing I've learned a lot of is like I thought I knew how to communicate until I met Chloe and so forth like that. And how she communicates and how she moves is very humbling, and she's like the perfect balance of it. And so forth like that. So just having that communication base is like so strong, and that just elevates everything and anything, because no matter how tough the conversation can be or how weird or uncomfortable, it's like the aspect that like, yo, this person isn't gonna look at me no different. They're gonna hear me out. They're gonna let me talk, and then we're both gonna be able to find a conclusion, a result, rather than it creating continuous problems and so forth like that.
Do you ever feel like the brand or like your business endeavors get in the way of your relationship, or you guys are both on board with like everything? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, like, man, like I can't, I don't give Chloe enough flowers, dude. My girl, honestly, she's the reason why Consistent is what it is today, man. Like when me and my partners departed, I paid them out on their part and all that, and Consistent was left with nothing, man. And Chloe actually threw me a bag and was like, yo, like restart this brand for yourself now. And that was what curated my first pop-up ever. And then since then, it wasn't until this year, but like Chloe's always been like the back end of it, man. She's always done the packaging. She's always done the shipping, the folding,
like the things
everything
that needs to get done. Yeah,
exactly, the technical parts, the technical parts, you know. So it's like, this year I started picking up on myself because she became a teacher and she's like on her career path and all that. But now, if anything, it's like I want to support her in whatever she does. Like she runs her own business and she does her own baked goods, and she has a culinary and baking background. So like now my job is to be like, yo, whatever you need, I want to be there. Like if I got to deliver some orders for you, I got to do it. I want to do it. If you need some stickers, some labels, what branding, I got you. You know, it's like she's done so much for me to be able to get to where I'm at. Now it's like, yo, I just want to pay you back and support and do whatever I can to get that. If I need a whip up in the kitchen for you, I'm gonna whip up in the kitchen for you, you know, because it's always been like I'm gonna make sure I help achieve your dream, and now she's fulfilling her own. So it's like, yo, I want to pay that forward, and I want to make sure she's good too.
That's awesome. So like we were speaking on, this is about to be the 7th year of Consistent.
Yep.
Like, where do you see, I guess, Consistent in a couple of years, or like how do you see the future for where
man, you know what, dude? Like I wish I had like a straightforward answer to it. Every year I kind of question like, where's Consistent gonna go? What can I do next? And so forth like that. Yeah. But at the end of it all, man, like I feel like Consistent's kind of like created its own entity, and although I'm not pumping it like when I first started it and so forth, that you know, I have a following, I have a clan, I have people who actually believe in the damn brand and the damn image, but more than anything, they believe in me. So it's like that trust factor that I really respect and honor. And whenever I'm doing something, I think of every single one of those people, man, because they have the influence. They're consistent. They are consistent. I'm just the person who curates it more than anything. So it's like, as far as like where I would want to get this to go, and I just want to keep pumping in. I want to keep influencing people to create cool shit at the end of it all, man. Like at the end, you know, whether it's like, hey, I'm doing a brand, you can do it too, or it's like whatever you see and you want to reflect on, or you want to try to do yourself and so forth like that. As long as like I had some kind of impact on that, I planted the seed, then that's what I'm happy with. I'm okay with it. And I never wanted to be one of those brands that needed to be in a store and continue with that, because at the end of it all, the only way you can buy Consistent is through me. And I've always had like that little bit of pride that you got from it, because some way, shape, or form, whether you bought it online, in person, either bought it from Tony or Rafa. So, you know, that's always been the cool part of it, and that's me. So I've always stayed humble to that aspect, but like, I just want to continue to push the bar, man. Like I said, like at this point, man, I've gotten really big into like cut and sew projects where I outsource the product and I get full production going. Like we've created basketball jerseys, football jerseys. I'm creating baseball jerseys right now, pants, and just being able to do that. But at the same time, like I look around, I see what other people are doing. I'm one of the most tapped in people ever. You may not know it, dude, but I see somebody's doing something. And I know in some kind of shape or form that whether there was an influence behind it or something like that, man, I would just like to hope that it's like, yo, if this kid is doing it, then I'm doing that. I want to do that too. I want to keep that going. And I would love to be able to like live off of it and, you know, be chilling, but at the same time, like I'm okay with the end result, man. I'm okay with whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. You know, if I try to take full control of it, then it may not turn out, and then I'm gonna be disappointed. So it's like having no expectations can lead to like the best results. You know,
that's good. Yeah, and then you have also like other business endeavors, like everything else you're doing.
Yeah.
And you've also worked for I can't let you leave without speaking on working for Joe.
Yeah.
Fresh Goods, because I remember seeing you at Complex Con. You were working that event. How's that experience like? It
was life-changing, man. You know, so like I was living in Colorado Springs at the time, and I just left my job at a screen printing shop, and I had no flow of cash, and I was doing Consistent, but like I was selling everything and anything just to get back to the city. So I remember selling like all my shoes and just trying to be able to get enough to be able to have gas money to come back to the city. So I came back to the city, to Chicago, correct? Okay. Yep. And throughout high school, I worked at the Sky Deck. So I worked in downtown. I worked in the Sears Tower, Willis Tower, whatever you want to call it. But I worked at the Sky Deck. So that was kind of like my main cash flow, but it was like not what I wanted to do. I was working with tourists and I was already doing it since high school. So it wasn't something that I was like driven off of. But I will say that like the whole Skydeck crew, man, they supported everything I did, whether it was a pop-up, me calling off, me having a business need come up, man. They were always super lenient with me and they supported what I was doing. So I was balancing out working at Skydeck, and then I had seen Joe had posted like, hey, we're looking for interns for this and that. So I went and I shot my shot, dude. I sent my resume out, and I got a call back, man, and that shit blew my mind because what a lot of people don't know is like I wrote my college final paper on a designer, and the designer I chose was Joe Freshgoods. Yeah. So wow. He was from Chicago. He was doing it. He was killing it. Huge influence. And
still is, yeah.
I wrote that paper, and then a couple months later, I ended up interning for Joe, and it was super cool, man. I learned a lot, but like myself, a lot of people could be like, well, you weren't getting paid and blah blah blah. No, I wasn't getting paid, but I was getting a shit ton of like influence and just notes, bro. I was taking so much in and how everything's curated, the process behind it, what the back end work really looks like, and not just the final result. So just seeing that was super cool, and how Joe moves, he moves so swift, man, and so smooth with it. So it was an honor to be able to work alongside him, and then going into after the first Complex Con, he actually picked up out of the interns. He actually hired us, 3 of us, and we kind of locked in. And then that's when we were able to work his New Balance event with Kauai. And then we went to Complex Con in Long Beach and so forth like that. So like, just hard work and, being a good person and just having work ethic, man. Like more than anything, with people like that, dude, they got shit they got to accomplish, So like if you're partaking in the team, you have to be able to hold your own weight. Like if you're given a task, you got to be able to do that task, I used to not hate, but I was like, damn, man, there's so much dang clothes in this, to do inventory and then ship out orders and all that. But I can tell you right now, I never folded a shirt until I worked for Joe Freshgoods, man. And then I always had like that cool little assist kind of thing. Yeah. But we didn't have that, dude. And we're folding thousands of shirts, hoodies, so forth like that. So I learned a lot from that now. And, just being able to curate and move, it really opened up a lens to where it's like, dang, this is how it is done, and this is like what the result can turn out if you do it within this. So I actually, COVID kind of like killed that whole connection because things really slowed down, and then I moved back to Colorado and so forth, and that's where I've been since. But it was a huge like it was like working with Michael Jordan, man. Like it was like being alongside and, seeing somebody resign all that glory, but still being so humble and still being human. That's one thing I noticed. Like if I can take anything away from being around all these celebrities and seeing all these different people and power of influence and so forth like that, is at the end of it all, they're still human too, man. There's still downfalls and they still, have hardships and so forth like that. But it's like how you bounce back from that, how you handle it and how you communicate it is what really makes you stand out. And I feel like that's like one of the most powerful things that I gained from being around that environment is communication, like how you want to communicate your project, how you want to showcase it. But more than anything, it's like the story behind it. And I feel like Joe locked that in, early on, and he's still pushing that till this day. And he's killing it. I mean, I'm still a fanboy. I'm still rocking with him, and we rocking NBA all day, and so forth like that. But at the same time, it's just like
You're still trying to build your own legacy too.
Yeah, exactly. And that, you know, that never curated into like anything like that. But one person can look at it and be like, dang, that was a waste of time. But to me, no, man, that was everything and more, because I was able to learn from someone else. And that's the thing, is like, I've never really been in an environment where like I can learn from someone else that like had more than me or had more knowledge than me and so forth like that. So being around that person was like, yo, this is the person I want to be around. This is the person I want to replicate. This is the person I want to strive to be, and so forth like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, because we were probably used to being like the man in charge, or like the man of like curating everything.
Yep. So no, straight up.
Cool,
but
like,
it didn't even touch on, you know, that level. So like to be able to see like 2 levels up,
like what it could be,
man, it was cool, man. It was cool. And there wasn't ever a time where I was like, damn, this is a waste of time. No, every day I woke up and I was like, yo, like I'm chasing my dream right now. Yeah. This is an opportunity that a lot of people wish they could have had. So it's like, I'm gonna take that all in, and I'm gonna reflect on it, and I'm gonna respond to it in the best way that I can. And at the same time, like,
that's awesome.
I learned a lot too, man. I learned how to communicate properly, and I never worked in a retail store, so being able to work on that retail end and like, you know, hustle people, and not hustle people in a bad sense, but like like hustle people, like, oh, you need this, you need that, I got you. Yeah. You know, it was a cool thing. It was a cool feeling, man. And then just seeing the team aspect, because like I said in the beginning, man, like you can't do anything yourself. There's a team behind it. And that's one thing I really seen in person, was like the team behind like the overall like final outcome.
Mm-hmm. Do you have you gone into the every now and then store, or like have you?
No, sir. No, I haven't checked that out. I want to check that out. There's a few spots, man. I've been very like homebody since I've been back. I got client work. As soon as I touched down in the city, I was like, I shot my bat signal out. I was like, yo, who needs work? You know? So I'm over here grinding, man. But I'm finally on my weekend. I finally get to just live a little bit. So
hell yeah,
curate that and so forth like that. But yeah, that's just, you know, it's been smooth. And like I said, I got no time, but like coming back to the city, coming to Chicago is a different energy, man. Like we were driving over here, dude, and just looking around, like from the graffiti scene to just like the abstract, you know, art to just, I don't know, the architecture, you know, there's so much influence that is a part of this city. So like coming back to it, don't get me wrong, I love the mountains. I love the fact that I'm not surrounded by 1 million people and so forth like that. But there's a part of the city that stays within me, and I get charged up when I come here. I get charged up, full battery, and then I go back home, hide in the mountains, and that's when I really get things done.
Nice. It's like a nice balance between the both.
Oh yeah, man. And then my mom's like, she loves to baby me, take care of me. You know, I be eating good.
Your mom still lives out here?
Yeah. Yeah. So my mom lives in Chicago. Yep. So I get to see her. I get to see my sister and my grandma, my family, and so forth like that. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I like to stay incognito, man. That's just like one of my things. I've never been like the party scene guy. I don't like to go out. I don't drink. So it's hard to get me to come out and bust out, because at the end of it all, it's like, no,
there's work to be done.
Yeah, it's there's either work to be done, or it's like, yo, like I know where I'm at and I'm cool with the people around me. So it's like, I don't need more, you know, for that. I don't got to chase a friendship. I don't got to chase friends and so forth like that. Because if I could, like I'm jealous of you, man, because you created an environment where you have all your homies in the same environment. Like that's my dream, to be able to just have an HQ where everybody can pump out like their most awesome projects or whatever they're doing, and we're all under the same roof. Whether you want to sleep here, you want to eat here, like it's just like that. It's like, the HQ, bro.
It's the dream for real, but at the same time, there's pros and cons to it.
Oh yeah,
because like, to be honest, a lot of the guys in here, they're not ever here. Like I feel like I'm more in here than anybody else, and that's just like keeping it real. But yeah, moving towards the summer, I'll probably be in a different studio. But yeah, with another set of friends. And it's just because like you use this time to figure yourself out. And a lot of people, I guess, ended up realizing that they could just do the same thing at home. I don't know what their reasoning is, but it was nice while it lasted, because it was a beautiful experience.
You wouldn't be able to get to like where you're at now if you didn't partake in previous actions, you know, and I respect that. And, you know, it's at the end of it all, like I'm like that too, man. Like I work from home So like it's hard to make home now because it's also my office is where I work and so forth like that. So it's like I don't even take a lunch break. You know, I'll go and I'll work 10 hours, not even eat. And then I'm like, oh damn, it's 7 o'clock and I haven't even eaten. So it's like, you know, it's definitely hard to be able to separate that. So like to be able to go to a location, that's one thing I always liked about working was like you go to a location to work and then you get to go home and your home is your home. But like putting 2 and 2 together, it's kind of tough. So like I'm hoping, you know, that's the dream right here. I'm speaking to existence. But like
manifest it.
When we move, we have some property. We're gonna build a duplex, and you know, I'm gonna be able to curate at least some kind of office or something to where I can at least exit out of my front door and go to another spot and just be able to curate and create, and then walk out of that environment and come home, and home is home. So
would this be in Colorado or
yeah no? 1000%. Yeah, I don't ever plan on coming back to the city. In terms of living, I love coming here to visit. I like to come in here, make some noise, do what I gotta do, and then dip out like a bandit, go hide in the mountains, and so forth like that. But like where we live on the Indian reservation, so we live on the Southern Ute reservation. I live off of a county road. And it's very, very simple, man. Like we have nothing but like acres of land, and their neighbors are cows, and it's just super. It's a trip because like coming from the city, you know, hearing all the traffic, hearing the airplanes, hearing the ambulances, the fire trucks, so forth like that, you get so used to it. And then you go out where I'm at now, and you're like, oh dang, dude, this is different, like you know? Yeah, but I've always dreamed of it. My dream has always been to have land, have a goat farm.
That's awesome.
Have a 360 porch and be able to just sit on my rocking chair and be like, hell yeah, dude, we're chilling.
Do you ever go to Denver a lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So
I
like,
would imagine that's like the closest thing to Chicago.
Shit, 6 hours, dude. So like where we live, man, like when I was going to school, man, I was super fortunate that my boys, they lived in Denver, so we would go and I would carpool with them. So they would go and drop me off at the airport, and then I would sleep in the airport so then I can catch a flight to come back for like winter break, summer break, and so forth like that. But my guys out there, dude, Smiley, Granger, my boy Alec, my boy Scoots, like all those guys, man, they took time out of their day to make sure that I got back home, and I'm super appreciative of them because of that. And my mom appreciated it too, because they were always my ticket to be able to go back home, not only in an affordable essence, but like safely and so forth like that. But there's a lot of times, man, where I slept on that airport floor. I would get there at like 8-9 o'clock, and then my flight would be at like 7 a.m. 8 a.m. So I would just find a spot, lay my jacket down, put on a movie or two, and then just kind of doze out. And then I'll get woken up by the lady vacuuming right next to me or some shit like that. But
we're young. I feel like
we could do it.
I sleep on this couch, is like uncomfortable as fuck sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, it's just like the things you do for your like craft are just like, yeah, that's awesome.
I gotta ask you, what is one of the most uncomfortable situations that you ever put yourself in?
Damn. So prior to my son being born, I just felt like I needed to have like a regular job, and I was unemployed at the time because I was doing a lot of like DoorDash and Postmates, like all the delivery food items. And then when I found out that my son was being born, I was like, all right, I need to get like a full-time job, which isn't the case, but it just felt like I should because that's what everybody else was telling me. Yep. And then I worked at a moving company, and it was like terrible. I hated it. It was just like moving a bunch of objects, and not only that, like it was a moving company, it was the night shift. So this was like 7 p.m. to like 2 a.m. or something, and I was just doing that consistently, and I was like, fuck it, this is just how my life is now. And I was just like super uncomfortable. And luckily after that, I was able to work at my dad's company. Nice. My dad doesn't own a company, but he was working for a company for the longest as an engineer, and he got me in as like a mechanical assembler. And that was my previous job before my graphic design job. And then that was still a blessing in its own sense, but not what I wanted to be doing, you know. And I felt like just like those years like were super uncomfortable. And I'm just glad I was able to get out of that.
I always laugh and make jokes because my dad was a mover. He worked for this company all throughout my childhood and so forth like that. And he would take me on side jobs. So I would, he would take me, and my grandpa would come too. It was probably my favorite memories is my dad and my grandpa. Yeah, we'd go on side jobs together and we'd do these moving jobs, and they'd be lifting the couches, I'd be lifting the pillows and shit. And, you know, and every time, no matter what the job was, dude, he always paid me $100 for the day.
Nice.
So I remember being a kid, waking up at 5 a.m., getting scooped up by the work truck, the moving truck, would go move all these nice ass houses and so forth like that. And then, at the end of the day, we got paid out, man. And he always threw me a hundo, dude. So like, I always laugh. Like when we're moving stuff around or whatever, I'm like, I got mover's blood in me. I'm good.
Yeah, it's like you realize that I don't know, you're here to struggle. I feel like, so, you know what I mean? Like we're alive, and like it's a testament to like what you can overcome. Like,
no, I asked that because like one of the most uncomfortable situations I've ever been in was this ceremony. It's called Sundance. So it's like a
movie festival.
No, see, so Sundance is like I want to title it as like a Native American ceremony.
Oh, crazy.
But it's pretty crazy, man, because there's different tribes that do Sundance in different ways. But like the way we do it, I'm going on my 4th year this year. I'm going in July, but it's basically a 3-day fast, no food, no water, and you're in a corral. And there's this pole that we outsource, and it's like a tree, and it kind of has like a fork and like a Y. And basically what you do is you go in at night, and you're basically in this corral for 3 days. Again, no food, no water. And, it's just this huge ceremony where people from all over different tribes will come, and they'll bring their drummers. So they'll come and bring their drummers and they'll sing. But like the whole essence of it is so beautiful because it's like we as men will never understand what it's like to give birth to a woman. We don't know what it does to the woman's body. We don't know the pain and so forth like that. We can never implement that. So like with Sundance, it's beautiful because we are sacrificing our body basically, not only for the women and to represent that, but it's like also for our people. So like we struggle for 3 days to be able to put love and light and like a shield over our people, our friends, our family, our dogs, whatever you want to, you know. But basically how it's like, it's the ceremony, and everybody has their own spot within the corral, and then there's this big pole in the center of it. And basically throughout the 3 days, you're just dancing back and forth between where you're sleeping or where you're at, and then to this pole. So you're like creating this path. And man, it's one of the most,
for how many hours?
It depends how long the drummers are going. Sometimes they'll go for 2-3 hours. Sometimes they'll go for 4. But at this point, it's in July, you know, so it's like the sun's beating in the corral. It's like 10 degrees hotter. So last year was like one of my toughest ones because I was automatically, first night I was in there, I was fantasizing about lemonade. So like I was at a taste for lemonade for like 3 days straight, and I couldn't, you can't drink or you're out, you know? So I stuck with it, you know, but it was very tough mentally and physically, because not only was like 110, but we're dancing and everyone's just looking at you, and you can smell the food in the air. And then where our corral was, we have a river right next to us, so you can hear that water flow. And it was just very tough, but like it was one of those. You can't drink either? No water. So no food or no water for 3 days. And you're just like, basically you're just submitting. And that's one of the biggest things I've learned from it, is being able to submit in a way that like your mind can push past the comfort zone. And that kind of like helps me to where I am today, because it's like, no matter how hard that situation is, I think back to Sundance and I was like, dang, I remember when I was thirsty as hell and I really wanted to drink some water. And we've maintained, and we've still partook in the ceremony while it's like pouring rain out, and it's, you know, tsunamis going as crazy out there. We dealt with all 4 seasons in a day. But like, imagine you're on day 2, you haven't drank anything, your mouth is so dry, you're tired from dancing, and it rains, and you just see puddles of water And you can't even drink that puddle of water because then you would be basically, you know, canceling yourself out and so forth. So it was like that mental discipline more than anything that I learned from these situations. So like the beautiful thing about it is like I was mentored by my father-in-law. I was mentored by my brother-in-law, you know, and they've been doing it for at least 15 plus years between the both of them plus, you know, so they kind of mentored me to like go about it a certain way or to look at it a certain way, how to like handle it. And now, that uncomfortable feeling is what I strive off of. So it's like part of the reason why I do 10 things at once and so forth like that. It's like, man, like I felt what it feels like to be uncomfortable and I seen the outcome that I was able to achieve it. So it's like, yo, I want that all day, every day. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to partake in that. But yeah, you have to do it for 12 years. No, so it's like so there's like, so it's like an all male kind of Sundance, but then there's female ones too. My girl's never done it, no, but she's the support on the outside. So like what is crazy is like in the morning you get towels. So like in the morning they put like the towels in really warm water and then they'll wring the towels out. So they're just like real hot towels. And you can wash yourself off and all that. And then during the day they come back with towels, but they're cold towels. So you get hot in the morning and then cold at night to cool off and so forth like that. But I mean, just living outside, living in like a sleeping bag and being able to survive the weather. And I got real smart and I acquired a tarp. So like when it was raining, I built a tarp over my head to where like the water would be able to, I wouldn't sleep in, in the wet because it happened to me before. So like I learned on the survival aspect of like how to maintain and get the job done. So it's like now anything that comes my way, man, where there's a will, there's a way.
That's awesome, bro. I would have never known that about you, until you told me.
Yeah, no, it's I'm very prideful of that. That's something I really partake in, man. Like if I can write that on my resume, I would. Sundancer, man, because it's because
that sets you apart. You're a different breed.
Exactly, and you know, I'm super grateful for that. But also, that's like put me in some of the most uncomfortable stances too, to where I wanted to throw in the towel, you know. But at the end of it all, it's like, dude, unless I'm gonna die, you know, it's okay.
You're pushing your body.
I'm pushing my body. Exactly, man.
So prior to that or after that, do you just feast?
Man. So before that, dude, my regimen is like a month before I go in. So like I say we're going in July. I'm gonna say like July 6th or 7th of this year. But like a month before I know I'm gonna go in, my mindset completely changes. I become really strict on my diet. I like to run. To me, running outside is a representation of like being in that corral. So it's like I'll push my body, I'll throw on a hoodie, 2 hoodies and some sweatpants, and it's like 80, 90 out, and I'm running 6, 7, 8, 10 miles and I'm gonna do some steps because it's like if I can push my body outside of the corral when I'm inside, I can resonate with it, be like, all right, cool, I'm on my 5th mile. I can just keep going and eventually I'm going to get to that finish point, you know? So it's being able to do that. But as far as eating goes, I get real strict. You know, I like to be toned up, but the day we go in, best believe I eat 2 filet mignons. I got some mashed potatoes locked in, like, meat and potatoes. That's like my correlation. And then when we come out, they have like this whole like tradition where, my girl's family's grandpa used to make the lemonade. He used to make fresh lemonade. So like that was one of the things that everybody wanted after Sundance. So they make it every time after. So that's something I look forward to, which got me in my rut last year. But afterwards, best believe I got 2 fillets, I got mashed potatoes, watermelon, and then lemonade. Like those are my go-tos after and so forth like that.
It's like the true definition of like discipline. Like,
and it's crazy because there's some days like there's it's kind of like a hearsay, but like let's say a little kid touches one of the drums during the ceremony, that's an automatic day added to the Sundance. So instead of being there for 3 days, now you're in there for 4 days.
Because there's little kids doing it too?
So like on the outside. So like if there's little kids running around or if somebody touches the drum or something, it could
add a day. Yeah,
adds a day. But it's up to the chief at the end of it all, who says, you know, but I'm waiting for that. Like this year is gonna be my 4th year going in. I still have it's 12 years that I'm like locked in to go ahead and partake in. But like I'm waiting for that 4-day any day, because it's like, yo, that's when it's really gonna test how far my body can go and my mentality and so forth like that.
I'm gonna send my son to touch the drum.
it's a
nah, that's crazy.
It's crazy, man, but it's beautiful too. And like
what's the limit like of how much a human body can handle on fasting? Like
me personally, I don't know, man, but all I know is you can survive 3 days off the rip. You can survive 4 days off the rip. I've heard stories of it, and like I said, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, they've done 4 days and they've traveled and so forth like that. So it's a mind body soul connection, and it's so crazy, dude, because you get into the spirit realm. We call it the spirit realm. On that,
you start hallucinating.
Oh, dude, you start hallucinating, man. And then like when that drum's going, it's so loud, and there's a fire going during the evening to get rid of all the mosquitoes, and you can see the frequency of the drum hitting that fire, and you can see like this weird level. And my girl's mom, she actually caught a photo of like this huge 7-foot tall, I don't know if it's a spirit or what, but it was in the fire. But it was like this 7-8 foot shadow that was just standing within the fire, dude. And it was so beautiful and crazy, because it's like that what we do sends out like this frequency into the world, and as a result the world comes back at us in different ways. So we see stuff, we hear stuff like on a paranormal or extraterrestrial, whatever you want to call it, but it's just so beautiful that at the end of it all, like what we do, what we create is frequency, and people can feel it and see it, you know.
Crazy. And it's like from being the most sober that you could be, which is even like,
it's your raw state, and that used to be like a challenge for me, because it's like, oh dang, I can't smoke for 3 days. What? But like before that, you're not even supposed to be able to consume alcohol or you know, any kind of like activity, you know. And now I take pride in it, dude. Like I love it. Like now going cold turkey, not having to smoke is something I thrive off of. Like there's days where I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna smoke today, or I can go 2-3 weeks without it. It's up to me at the end of it all. And that's what I love about it, is like being in control of it all. Some people like to turn on the aspect of like addiction and so forth like that, but it's like, no, at the end of it all, it's up to the individual, you know, to be able to partake in it. Like it's that mental stability to be like, no, I don't need it. That discipline, you know, and a lot of us lack discipline because we're so comfortable, and we can say, oh, the next day, you know, nah. But when it comes down to like the business aspect, it's called the Spartan effect. And I don't know if you know about Spartan races and all that. Have you ever heard like the Spartan races?
I've only seen 300.
So like there's like Spartan races where like they do crazy obstacles, like a mud run almost, but it's like to the next level. But I love how the founder has stated that like we created this idea called the Spartan run, and everyone is like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do it. But no one really locks in until they sign up for it and they have like a specific date. So it's like for me, Sundance is like that specific date. Like, okay, cool. I got to train. I got to go in the hyperbolic time chamber and I have to go and push my body, push my limits, get as best as I can in shape mentally, physically. So then when I come to this challenge the day of, I can say that I did everything I could, because the worst thing that I can do is say, I could have, I would have, I should have. You know, so I look at everything like that now. It's like if I set a date, I have to have a date locked in, because then I not only cannot turn away from it, but now I'm disciplined on the aspect that like, okay, cool. On this day, that's when business needs to be handled, you know?
Yeah. And it comes down to being a man of your word and like holding yourself accountable.
Accountable, bro. Accountability, man. That's the biggest thing ever.
That's awesome, bro. I think you gave a lot of game. I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity, dude.
14. This is episode 14.
14. Good Friday. You know, it's a good day, man. It's a great day.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
Can you tell people where they can find you? Or
yeah, dude. So you can find me on Instagram at Tony_Mayne, Mayne. You can find my clothing line at Consistent Clan. And you can find all my other devours. You can find El Tigre Boomsticks on El Degen Tigre. We got a whole little movement going with that. But at the end of the day, man, if I could say anything, man, any last words is like, yo, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you stand for, man. And if you're listening to this and you have any kind of like questionable aspect that like, You don't know what you want to do, just go for it, man. Believe in yourself, love yourself, believe in the power of the I am presence, because it's all within us. And then once that flame is lit, dude, you're unstoppable, man.
Let's go.
Love, 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 love. Peace and love.
Thank you for listening.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is it.